So in this lesson, our application is going to function just like it does now, but what we're going to do is we're going to clean up our code so that it aligns better with how Phoenix LiveView traditionally structures a lot of their applications to have very nice clean code. So in our use case, we don't have a lot of HTML, so using a render function was no problem here. Our code was able to stay pretty neatly concise and clean here. But what if we actually had a really big HTML page and this HTML just took up tons and tons of lines here inside of our render function, right? Well, that would be a huge problem and our code would start to get a little bit out of hand. So Phoenix LiveView has a solution for this. And what that is to store all of the code that we want to render out to the user inside of a LiveView page. So in order to demonstrate this, we currently have our application loaded and it's working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this code that we have here inside of this render function, and I'm just going to copy and cut it out of the page because I want to demonstrate if I try to come back to our web page here, it's going to say that the render function is not found. It says that it's not implemented. And if we look here, Phoenix LiveView is really awesome about always providing helpful information to assist you as you're building your application. It'll let you know that you must either make that render clause, which has that Heeks sigil inside of it, which we previously had that I've just pulled out of here, or instead of using a render function, it lets you know that you could also use a page_HTML Heeks file as a LiveView template. So we're going to explore in this lesson how we can use a LiveView template. And it already gave us a little bit of a clue of how we can do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our application and create this page_live HTML Heeks file. And we're going to do that instead of using the render function. So I'm going to come back here and create that LiveView template that it's suggestion, which was telling us to add a file that has the same naming structure as our page_live module. And we're going to put it right next to this module. So I'm going to right click on the live folder and I'm going to create a page_live.html.heeks. And now that we've created this file, if I save this and come back to our application works again, but what we need to do is just re-add that code that we had previously. So to re-add that code, I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to undo delete in the render function temporarily so that way I can copy and paste this code. I'm going to copy and paste this code over into our LiveView template, but I don't need to use the squiggle H, which is the sigil that tells the render function that the code inside of here is Heeks code. Since this is named page_live.html.heeks, since it's named a .heeks file, our application will know that this is Heeks code. So we don't need to use this squiggly line H sigil. So I'm just going to take this code and I'm going to paste it directly here into where we have our LiveView template. And I'm going to save that and I'm going to come back to our page_live module and redelete that render function. So this way our application will not use the render function, it'll use the LiveView template. So if we come back here to our application and we refresh the page, everything is functioning again just like it did before. And if we come back here, just to prove that this is a new file, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and add some text here that says hello from the LiveView template. And if I click save and I come back to our application, we'll see that that code will render here on our application. So you can see this is coming from a different file now. So this text is only here inside of our LiveView template. It exists nowhere here inside of our page live module. So we can do anything that we want to this application now, and it will function just like it did before. So if I wanted to go ahead and get rid of the form, for example, and just have the button like we did in our earlier lessons, our application will work just like it did before, or we can add that form, or we could add even new code into here and just build out our application. And you can see that this is a lot cleaner of a format because now our LiveView template is just completely separated. And this code doesn't need to be stored directly inside of our page live module. So it just cleans up our code and we can separate out the logic of the handle event functions from the actual Heeks code that is displayed here out onto our Phoenix LiveView application. So congratulations, you've learned a lot about Phoenix LiveView throughout this course. I hope that you've really enjoyed this, and I think that you'll enjoy all of the other future courses that we have here at productiveprogrammer.com. In our next lesson, we are going to talk about the next steps that you can take with learning Phoenix LiveView. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson.